Hello, everybody. What a musical start that is. Welcome to Betting Weekly Live. Good morning, everyone. It is the final day of January and the weekend starts here. Well, every organisation, every team needs somebody they can turn to in times of crisis. That name in the envelope that you know is a safe pair of hands. Sadly, when Nigel called that guy, he wasn't available. So you've got me, folks. The fifth Earl of Cardigan himself, Simon Holden. But fear not, we are in the presence of greatness. It's the Vegas vegan himself, Jack Wright, a man who bets in big stakes, all plant-based though. Jack, welcome. Great to see you, mate. How are you?
That is the best intro I've had today, certainly. So thank you very much for that. And
it's got to be top three, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. So it's been a while since we've done anything like this together.
It is. It's been, I think it was the European Championships, wasn't it? One fateful night. Yes. But folks, we are here and this is not my show, not Jack's show. It's your show. So please do get involved. Tell us what you think is the best bet today. We've got games to cover in the Championship. Then we're going to hurtle around Europe and go through 4 games mainly. And we're going to just add another one in there for a fifth. So we're going to start with the Championship. But first, I want to go through yesterday's ups and downs with Bet Rivers. Who were the winners? Who were the movers and shakers? And who had a day like James Eastham? And who had a day like Dangerous Dan Roebuck? A man whose losing run goes back to when a guy knocked on his door on a very wet night looking for 2 of every animal. Now, that is a long-running bad run. So Thursday, Europa winners and losers. There was a bet of $8,625 on Tottenham over 1.5 goals. It was live, -167, and it was a win. 6,600 on Braga v Lazio, over 10.5 corners. A live bet as well. That copped, that one. 6,000 on Manchester United over 0.5 goals live, -133. Versus FCSB, and that was a winner. But Bet Rivers clawed back 5,950 on Tottenham v Elfsberg over 1.5 goals, -1.9. That was a loss. And the last one, notable wager, was 4,000 on Roma v Eintracht Frankfurt under 2.5 goals, +135, and that was a win. Now we have some house specials for you today. Not on soccer, but I want to tell you and put on your radar a Super Bowl special, and that is either team to score a defensive touchdown. That is available today at +275. So I had a team to score a defensive touchdown, +275. That is your house special. We'll have some more wagers later that have come already in for today's game. But Jack, we are going to start with the Championship. Now, you made a point on the live show the other day that the top 4 aside, this is a league where anyone can beat anyone. Of course, if that's true, that makes our task even trickier today. But do you sort of stand by that this is such a competitive league that it makes it very difficult for these mid-range matchups?
I do stand by that totally. Yeah, I think that the top 4 have certainly gone. They're now fighting out those top 2 places. It's very similar to last season, where we saw that happen then, and like they just kept pushing each other further and further and further, and the gap got bigger between them and the rest. And you could probably say that the likes of say West Brom, Middlesbrough are fairly consistent in there, but you roll down the table. And there's sides that can put in some great runs of form. We saw QPR put a brilliant run of form together and go from the edges of the relegation zone to the kind of the cusp of the playoffs. I think they went up as high as 9th. And we're seeing Millwall do a similar thing. And any side now that can put a string of results together, positive results, I'm talking 6-7 wins on the spin, and you're in anything from like kind of 7th, 8th down to probably 14th, even 15th. Like I say, these sides now have got eyes thinking we can close the gap. We look at tonight. There's a 5-point gap between these two. Blackburn are only 2 points off the playoffs. A win for them gets them up to 5th. But Preston are down in 15th. They're only 5 points behind. So obviously a win puts them only 2 points behind Blackburn. They're bang in the race then. So it's that tight. And as I say, you know, it's only a string of home games, a good run of results. and it's game on.
Yeah, exactly. Just a few hellos, people who have joined us, and you're very, very welcome. Paul Laguna, good morning, betters. Looking forward to hearing from my friends Jack and Simon. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Enjoy. Let's cash those tickets. Paul, I owe you $5 for doing one of my jobs there. Do like and subscribe. We are growing all the time. We're growing our range of shows. This is the place to be. Rick Haley, morning, everyone. Good morning, Rick. Villa fan, good afternoon, betters. Byron Morrill, morning, gents. Good morning, sir. Adam Thompson, name a better duo. I struggle to, Adam. I really, really do. Chris Graham, good intro. Nigel and Dan need to up their game. Well, far be it from me to say that. Right, let's
see. Adam stopped the comments right there. He's asked for a better duo, and there's literally one comment after it, and everyone else is still thinking. That's the problem they got.
Or they've gone back to sleep. One of the two. Let's hope it's not that. We are going to Ewood Park. We are going to a Blackburn v Preston. This, my American friends, is a Red Rose Lancashire derby. This game has some added spice tonight. Now, we are not ones in this team to highlight bad behaviour. You know that, Jack. We are not ones to discuss anything that may make betting or the sport look bad. But there is an extra bit of spice to this, because for those that don't know, this is the second time these teams have played. The first game was 0-0 earlier in the season, but the result was overshadowed by a quite frankly horrific incident when the Preston striker, I've been trying all day with this, I'm going to have a go, Osmajic received an 8-match retrospective ban for taking a bite out of opposition player Owen Beck. Now, we're interested in betting banks, not blood banks tonight, Jack. But there's a very serious point. I've got one more to do. There's a very serious point here. Yeah, very good. There's a very serious point. Does an incident like this have an effect on the game? I personally think it is. It's affected one of my bets for tonight's game. Does this retrospective ban and the bad feeling between the two clubs, do we have to, or is it a clean slate? Do we take it into account, or do we think fresh night?
No, this will rumble on. If you've had a game and you've had a chunk bitten out of you, then that's going to have some kind of impact. It's not something you're going to brush off. And as I say, the weird thing about that, it was retrospective, so it wasn't actually picked up by the referee. He was. I actually don't know can't remember if he was booked in the game. There were 7 yellow cards and 2 straight red cards in that, and he wasn't one of the red cards. So it shows you how bad the blood was in that game already, without actual blood being raised by him from that incident. So it's a local derby anyway. It's probably not their biggest, is it? They've got kind of other more bitter rivalries, but it's still a real fierce rivalry, as say shown by the fact of those cards last time out. So that would be the angle. If you're able to do it in the state that you're in at the moment, then get on the cards. I think that's an absolute a very strong play, to be fair. Josh Smith's the referee. He's a fairly solid referee as far as that comes to concern. I think the line will be set around about 5.5. Quite a high one by English terms, but as I say, I think you can see why.
We know everybody cannot get on these bets state by state, but over 5.5 cards is plus 133. I put here, there should be more bad tempered than Nigel Seeley finding out the bar he goes to has run out of Stella Artois. So I think this will be an extremely bad tempered, and this might go even higher than that. So plus 133 if you can get on. Right. So Blackburn sit in 7th, Preston in 15th. Blackburn, the wheels have slightly come off lately. Their kind of promotion charge, haven't they? And it's actually Preston, the visitors, who come here in better form. How do we think Preston will approach this game, Jack? Do we think they're going to try and all out and win it, or do we think that they'll be a little bit more cagey? They're not a team that have travelled well, are they?
No, they're also not a side that you'd expect to go and smash teams off the park either. It's highlighted by the fact where they sit in the league table. They've got Paul Heckingbottom as a manager, not known for his open and expansive football. It's been pretty decent. He's kind of got them stabilised, as he tends to do, and he's getting them steadily making progress up the table. And that's probably how I see Preston as a club, really. They've not got a prolific goal scorer. They'll work hard. They'll be compact. They'll look to keep it tight. They'll frustrate Blackburn. The one thing I would say, if I was in that Preston camp at the moment, I would certainly be saying, let's keep it tight early doors. Let's frustrate the Blackburn crowd. They're not happy with their ownership still. That's been rumbling on for years. I'm reading loads of reports about, how there's discontent there. They've now lost their last 3 on the spin. So they're in the playoffs. And while they're in the playoffs, things weren't too bad. Things were a little bit more red rosy, weren't they? But now, when those 3 defeats have seen them drop out of the playoffs, if they go a goal behind here, I think it can turn toxic. And that's what I would be playing on if I was in the Preston camp. And I'm sure they'll look for that angle as well. There's not been lots of goals at Blackburn. I got told off last time because I went on at length about how few goals there were in Blackburn games, and that there's 12 of the last 13 at home has seen both teams to score no land. So that's where my angle of attack was in the last game, which they won 3-0. But since then, I say it's not been so good for them. So, it's... I think Preston will go there and look to keep it quiet early doors and then look to nick one and see if they can turn it toxic.
Historically, this game has gone overs, hasn't it? These two, obviously, they drew 0-0 at Preston, but at Blackburn, historically, this game has been a high-scoring affair. But, John Eustace, the Blackburn manager in the papers this morning, newspapers, was urging his team to react and get their promotion bid back on track. And, I don't know. My feeling here is that Blackburn are going to come out of the traps and really go for this in the first half. And then
I think they'd like to.
The best thing for this game was if they do, If they do, and we could get the best chance for overs bettors tonight is that Blackburn really go for it early. And then Preston.
Only 4 sides have scored fewer than Blackburn in the league, and that's their problem. And John Eustace, you mentioned him there. I was going to say touch on the fact that as a manager, again, is a very pragmatic manager. He's a manager that will eke out tight wins. He'll keep the side solid and defensive. If people cast their mind back, just before this time last year, he was in charge of Birmingham. He had them in the top 6, but it was quite boring football. The phrase "be careful what you wish for" was made for that. They got rid of him. They wanted a more sexy football, and therefore, who do you think of? Wayne Rooney, of course. You brought him in, and he kind of went from in a good position to a disastrous one, and they eventually got relegated, Birmingham. So I think that's where they're at the moment with Eustace. I think he'd sign for like a 1-0 win here, as much as he's talking the talk there, looking to get things going. I think he just wants to get a win, to get them back on track and back into the playoffs. So a tight game for me, could be decided by set pieces.
So are we playing the unders?
Not at -165. If I had to go on one of those two, I'd be going with my favourite. Both seem to score no angle at -129. I put an official play in the newsletter, which went live Monday just gone. So anyone who's not subscribed to that, make sure you do. That's where all the exclusive plays go, and there's been very profitable over the course of the season so far. So that's one to make sure you get on board with. And of course, they had the exclusive betcast this week for the Champions League, which was fantastic success. So I think both teams score no would be where I'd head for that. There's a prop that I like, which would be the pick for today's show. Danny Bart over 0.5 shots, -103. That would be my play for this show on that game.
Okay, so that's there for today. And if you can get on the over 5.5 cards at +133, because we think this is going to be an extremely bad-tempered affair. Right, that is a chance quickly. Both teams not to score. No 12-15 as cashed 12 out of 15 Blackburn home games this season. Might only be 1 goal in this fiery account. So that's Adam Thompson. Thanks for that. And Nigel's 0-0 Ballfest is surely on here. Well, I caught the old 0-0 detector the other night. I'm not going to try for 2 in a row. That's from Kushal. Thank you for that. Dan Roebuck says he implies he didn't tell off Jack Wright. I thought it was outrageous, his behaviour. Only defensive foul or a deflection could lead to a goal for Blackburn. Surely they're not that bad. And where are we? There. So the general feeling. Now, let's see what the news from Bet Rivers is on this game. Here we are. Well, on the money line, this is a shock. 91% of the money and 97% of the tickets are on the home team, Blackburn Rovers. The over-under, 81% of the money is on under, which backs up Jack's idea that this is going to be a not exactly super exciting, and 88% of the tickets on over minus 150 on Blackburn Rovers. On the money line, we've had a bet of $450 on Blackburn Rovers on the money line, plus 108. So that is the championship covered. It may not be a goal fest, although I really enjoyed. I'm the only person probably in Britain who enjoyed the Preston Leeds game, which has been said to be the worst game staged this year, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Being on the
I said to you earlier, Simon, both those sides were lucky to get nil, so that was never in doubt. Your bet there, that was a good shout.
Yeah, but I did say, Jack, that having watched every Everton game this season, for me, it was like watching Real Madrid play Barca in an exhibition sponsored by the Harlem Globetrotters. So there we go. Now we are going to go to Germany, I think, next. No, we're not. We're going to start in Spain. There we go. And then we'll go to Germany for the game between Leganes and Rayo Vallecano. On the money line, it's plus 215. Leganes, the tie is plus 195, and Vallecano at plus 143. So, Jack, tell us what you feel on this. I know you've got a prop bet for us.
Yeah, again, this is a really tough one. I think Leganes last time out, they burnt many a parlay. They turned over Atletico Madrid the last time at home, didn't they? They beat them 1-0. Yeah. They conceded 3 twice and 5 before that. And then they kept Atletico Madrid out, who I think were on a 16-game unbeaten run at the time. So a bit of a crazy one, that. They've kind of eked their way out of the relegation zone, 3 undefeated, 3 points clear of the drop now. But this one is tough. Rayo come here with a 7-game unbeaten run. So looking across the board, it's clear that Bet Rivers and the traders do not expect there to be goals in this one either. When you see that where the goal line is set there, we're seeing an over 1.5 goal line here, admittedly at minus 210, but the over 2 Asian is minus 108. So you can get on board of that at nearly even money, double your money, just for over 2. Obviously, 2 goals gets you a push, 3 for the win. So yeah, we're not looking at too much. 1-1 in the reverse. Rayo Vallecano have drawn their last 3 away, 1-1 as well. I struggle, so I phoned a friend in time-honoured fashion. When in times of need, I phoned the only person I knew who the King of Spain, Rui Barlow, of course, that I was talking about there, and gave him a call and said, exactly right. So give us a lean on what these two sides are like at the minute, how they're going. So I just took some bullet points from what he said, but his words is to try and give a steer to the viewers today. Leganes are lacking in talent, but very well organised. It was his way of summing them up. Rayo, solid. Have got a top half side as far as their talent is concerned, but generally league a goal, and they lack a bona fide striker. Hence why I think we're getting the goal line set as where it is. But on that basis, they're expected to concede. So possibly it's worth taking on that very low line at Asian 2 minus 108. So he's forced him to make a prediction. He's gone for the tie, but that's at plus 195. I did speak to him without him having the benefit of looking at the odds at the time. So 195 is a really short price as far as a tie is concerned. So again, like you look at that, plus 143 Vallecano, plus 195 to tie. That again, it's a real tough market to try and crack. And again, he said unders, but again, so we're looking at under 1.5, under 2 Asian total possibly. But do you know what? If I had pizza money on this on one of those lines, I'd probably go with the 1-1 at plus 440. That would be my tentative play on like kind of the main lines there. Really, to be fair, the guy I liked as far as the prop that you talked about is Miguel de la Fuente, mainly because I just like saying his name. But he's minus 118. Yeah, it's good at it. Minus 118 for a shot on target. Yeah. He's their number 9, but I think he's only by number, not by any other kind of definition. He's got 1 goal in 20 this season. As I said, they've really struggled for goals, to be fair. He's had 15 starts, so it's not through lack of opportunity either. He had 3 shots on target in his opening 11 appearances, which shows you how much he struggled. But what's caught my eye is he has picked up. He's had a bit of a rocket, I think, because he's had 10 shots on target in his last 9, averaging 1 every 67 minutes. So that caught my eye to then look at that particular market. So over 0.5 shots on target is minus 118. He's had at least 1 in 5 of his last 6 home starts as well. The only one he failed was against Real Madrid, which I think is probably fair enough. We can let him off that one. So I thought that was a decent way into a really tricky looking tie.
Do you know when you see a draw, a tie price that short, always nearly lures me in to back it, because I think that the trader, the money line is so short on that, isn't it? It's Now let's see where the money has gone on this one. 88% of the money and 60% of the tickets so far are on Vallecano. And we've had a bet of $1,000 on Vallecano under 4.5 shots at minus 177. That doesn't suggest a goal fest, does it? That's do you know, recently, I think, if I'm right, and I'm fairly sure I'm right, I think 4 of the last 5 meetings of these have gone over. So that guy is obviously hoping they buck the trend historically, but we shall see. So, yeah, tricky game. And, we've gone to a man who might know. So, good thinking, Batman. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if it wins. If not, we'll
pass the buck.
we'll be round in the morning. Right, let's go to the Bundesliga for what many see as the best game of the day, which might not be the greatest accolade, but there we go. It's Werder Bremen v Mainz 05. And on the money line, Werder Bremen are plus 125. The tie is plus 235. And Mainz, the visitors, are plus 210. So another reasonably tight game on the book there, Jack. What are we thinking here?
I think goals. Yeah, this is one that I do like the look of. Bundesliga generally a place to go to for goals. I've done a bit of work on it over the last season or so, and the goal lines are generally very, very high. So when I see one at 2.5, my eyes generally light up, and it's a little bit of a blind play because most of the sides do contribute. Just for those that aren't that aware of Bundesliga, the 566 goals so far this season. An average of 3.31. That's by far and away the highest average of any of the elite European leagues. To put it in context for the Premier League average is 3.02. So it's a lot more goal friendly than even the Premier League. And say all the others, there really is say the place to go. Over 2.5 goals cashed in 63% of games so far this season. Again, the Premier League's at 59%. So we think there's goals galore there. Go over to Bundesliga if you're a fan of that. The 2 sides in question, 6 and 9. Bremen home games gone over. It's 7 and 9 for Mainz away games. And Bremen's last home game was a 2-0 defeat, and that ended a run of 5 straight home overs. So I think they'll get back on the horse here. They drew 2-2 with Dortmund last time out away from home, let Dortmund off the hook. They conceded 2 goals against Dortmund, who were down to 10 men for 70 minutes there. So the reverse was 2-1. And so I think this one could well be another one that cashes for the overs. Mainz really surprising a lot of people just outside the Champions League places, and I think they've got a live chance here. But goals for me. I think this is the standout player of the night on my card at minus 125.
Excellent. Of course, Werder Bremen, tough to beat at the old Weser Stadium. Dan Roebuck has entered the fray, saying overs in Germany. Backing up Jack's stats there.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Nicolao77, you know it, Dan. I dread to think what he knows. And Kushal Pokra said, Dan said overs. Now the nil detector. Nil detector looks likely.
Ruthless.
I'll call you later. Money to the.
Tell you what, a real quick one. Sorry, Simon, quick one. Again, people have asked about props. They like the props with something we don't tend to touch on too much for obvious reasons. But Mitchell Weiser is a prop that caught my eye in this one. Shots, over 1.5 shots. He's played on the left. He's played on the right. He's played more advanced. He's played in a back 4 deep when they look to defend. So he's been kind of all over the place. He's one of those players that you can slot in anywhere. One thing that's been consistent across the season for him is he's found his way to have attempts at goal. He kind of plays. He has been playing, generally speaking, say as a right back or right midfield most recently. Only one player in the Bremen side has actually had more attempts at goal than him. He's had 28 shots so far this season. He's had at least 2 shots in each of his last 6 home games. So
Wow.
that is a real consistency, and we're getting a really good price at -112 for over 1.5 shots. The cherry on top of the cake for this one is the fact that Mainz, actually, as well as they've done this season, do tend to leak quite a lot of shots. They're the 6th highest as far as conceding shots in the German top flight. But when you drill down to just their away games, they're averaging conceding 18.8 shots per away game, which is the most in Bundesliga. So that will generally expect that Werder Bremen will have a few attempts tonight. And given what we've seen throughout the season, even though he's listed as a defender, he'll get in some good positions to get a few shots away. So over 1.5 for him. Mitchell Weiser at -112.
Excellent. Germany for Rovers, Germany for goals. If you're like me, an Everton fan, or you know any Burnley fans, let's get together. Let's get out to Germany. Let's get our love of the game back. We can do it. We can be healed. Right, that is Werder Bremen, the Mainz over. Now let's move on to France. Now, small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it, as they say, Jack. Montpellier, where our glorious leader, Nigel Seeley, the world of sport is just, well, it's just, is he following the world of sport, or is the world of sport following him? All I know that he is live in Montpellier, and they are playing tonight against Rayo Vallecano. Montpellier are the outsiders at +325 on the money line. The tie is +275, and Lens, and I think we've got a mistake here. Do you, Jack? I think Montpellier are playing Lens, not Rayo Vallecano. Let's scrub that. But Lens are -122, unless it's some European Cup that we're. Sorry about the error, folks. It's Montpellier v Lens, not what you see up on the screen there, but we have cleverly realised the cunning mistake. So, Jack, Nigel is there screaming Lens at the top of his voice and saying, "I'll see you boys in my office." But what do we think about this? And do we know if Nigel is going to the game?
Well, it's interesting to note there's only one minus money favourite across all these games tonight, and it is Lens. That's as if to say there's been a couple of rogues running amok over in Montpellier, disturbing the locals and therefore upsetting their team. Therefore, we're going with Lens at minus money. I think that could be the only explanation, not the fact that they're second from bottom in the table. But they have won the last couple on the bounce, Montpellier, and the lads who have been smashing it on the Euro show, Steve and James, both were quite keen on Montpellier at a big price last week, and they duly cashed. To say that was back-to-back wins for them has seen them give themselves real hope of getting out of that relegation zone. So, again, for me, this one just looks like a game that is appealing for goals. Montpellier have not kept a clean sheet all season. So they've got a bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence from the fact they've won the last couple of games. They've probably been out on the town with Nigel and Channers over the last couple of nights. They're in real good form and good fettle, aren't they, to go and smash it tonight. So they scored at least two in 4 of their last 5 at home as well. So I think they've sort of turned a bit of a corner from the season, which was terrible to start with. And Lens under Will Steele, one of Steve's kind of favourite long-term managers there, say they've scored 2 in 4 of their last 5 away. Only failed to score once, and that was at PSG. So that kind of doesn't count as far as I'm concerned, because PSG are the kind of the cheat code in Ligue 1, aren't they? So only 1 defeat on the road for them. I think that's a backable price. I'm assuming that's what Dan is saying there with his Lens, that he's fancying them to win this at -122. I think that's fair. But again, for me, the price has changed a bit there, actually. Over 2.75 is my play, isn't it? Over 2.75 goals at -110 is one that I like there. I fancy this to be quite another entertaining affair.
Yeah, in my sixth form level French, I actually looked at a Montpellier website, and the title was Montpellier's Woes. So it didn't seem like the local media fancy they're going to get much tonight. So I presumed it meant Montpellier was the football team, not the fact that Nigel and Neil Channing are in town. So yeah. And I must apologise, Kushal. Are you saying that for not realising earlier, is it an Intertoto fixture? Fair point. But not only that, they would be playing 2 games on the one night, wouldn't it, as well? Had that been a correct thing. So, yes, thank you for the help there. We did get there. So, Montpellier v Lens. And now we head to Italy. It's Serie A clash between Parma and Lecce, with Parma as +112 favourites. Then we go again, another short tie price, plus 225. And Lecce, the outsider of the three, at plus 245, but not without their followers, Jack. Lecce tonight.
Got plenty of fans, have they? They've got good support on Bet Rivers.
Well, I'm reading through previews. There's quite a few people think that Lecce, the great dangerous Dan Roebuck, Lecce and the tie, think that there might be a little away win on the cards today. Or what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, this is an interesting way. It's a relegation battle down there. Both these sides are level on points. Parma are out of the drop zone only on goal difference. And the main point that you can see with these two sides is they've both got terrible defences, which would lead you to the suggestion that it doesn't always mean there's going to be goals, because as much as they concede them, you do need the other side to score. But Parma are a decent attacking side as well. So I've gone with goals in this one. I do like to throw in a plus money play on the show. So this is the one. I've gone for over 1.5 second half goals at plus 100. The standard play would be over 2.5 goals there at minus 127. I think that's got a really good chance. Second and third worst defences in the league. They conceded 39 and 40 goals. Parma have scored the most goals in the bottom half. And Lecce are the lowest scorers, but they've certainly started to find a way. I feel that sometimes the side gets to the point where they're trying to play a certain way, maybe defensive or keeping it tight, and it's not working. They're losing games. And they decide it's time to start swinging punches. And I think that seems to be what Lecce have done. They've started to find the way of scoring goals. They were terrible at the start of the season, and now they've come alive a little bit. So going back to Parma, they've got no clean sheet at home this season. They've only failed to score once. So you can see why both teams to score. Yes, is minus 159 in this one. The reverse fixture was 2-2, but there were 2 injury time goals for Parma in that one, scored in added on time to make it 2-2. They actually conceded 2 last weekend versus AC Milan to throw a 2-1 win away into a 3-2 defeat. So lots of late goals flying around with these two sides. Lecce conceded 4 in their last 2 games as well. So after their 6 of their first 7 road trips cashed unders, 3 of the last 4 have gone over. And that's my line of thinking here, that I just feel that this is a game both are going to target. A win will be a massive for them to get them out of that drop zone. Lecce failed to score in those opening 6 games, but as I said to you, they've contributed to the goals in 4 of their last 5 away from home. I feel they are just now having to think, well, we win with a chance. Let's go down fighting rather than just say slip away with what we had been producing, not scoring any goals at all. So just to sum it up, those overs in 4 of the last 5 Parma at home and 3 of the last 4 Lecce away. So I think it's a live player over 2.5 goals at minus 127. But for plus money, I'm going for at least 2 of those to be in the second half at plus 100 exactly.
Excellent. Now, my positivity on Lecce is not shared, Jack, by the people playing this game with Bet Rivers. I don't know whether they'd heard about me, my views early, and the word.
Dan's with you.
Exactly.
Dan's with you. So
talk about double the trouble. The money line: 83% of the money and 90% of the tickets are on Parma. Sure, were you shocked it's that high? I am.
Yeah, I think
I thought it'd be maybe 65-35, but there you go.
I agree. I think Parma would be, if you ask me, who I think is going to win it, I'd probably side with Parma. But that much of a sway, surprised.
Now, the over/under, 59% of the money is on under. 73% of the tickets are on over, and we have had a bet of $475 on over 2.5 total goals at minus 122. So there you go, folks. We are in for an interesting night of football. Now, can I just say that the channel at the moment really is going from strength to strength. More and more people are joining. So please, if you are watching this and you're not a subscriber, do subscribe. And you will, you won't regret it, because we've got Game Bet Match. The guys I think we've got the 3 best tennis guys in the business, Rory, Sean, and Nigel himself in Montpellier. Do check out on a very important weekend of Premier League football. I believe it was on yesterday afternoon, the EPL show, Jack, with yourself, Great Dangerous Dan Roebuck, and Nigel himself. Do check that out. We are in a very, very, very important weekend. They'll be covering every game on Saturday, Sunday, and I believe there's a Monday night game this week, Jack.
It's Chelsea West Ham. So a nice London derby to end the round.
And we've got the European show, of course, with the maestro James Eastham, and our holidaying, but he's not completely holidaying, the great meatman soccer Steve Wiss. He will be popping up at some stage next week before he heads back to boot me out of the screen and rightfully take his seat at the head of the table. So we've got lots going on. Please do. And that, not to mention the newsletter, of course, where we had the exclusive betcast on the Champions League final games. You can subscribe to that newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com. Jack Wright's on there with some exclusive selections. Might even be in the Blackburn match, just to give you a little clue there. If you can be sharpish. And of course, the maestro James Eastham and all sorts of other things. So that we really want more and more of you subscribed on that newsletter. And this show will be back on Monday and start another exciting week. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for even the ones when we got the little graphic wrong. We did correct it, so my apologies for that. There isn't a team playing 2 times tonight in Europe, only 1. Jack, thank you, mate. Thank you for helping out and giving us some cracking wagers tonight. Good luck, and hope you have a very, very successful weekend.
Cheers, Simon. And to everyone else, let's have a good one.
Thanks, guys.